Welcome to the Scholar's Guide. I'm your host, Briana Brown, and today I am joined by our host, Nico Montano.
Hey everyone, really excited to be here and hosting because I will be interviewing Briana today. So we have a bunch of questions lined up, but I will introduce myself first. My name is Nico Montano. I'm based here in New York City. I actually know Briana from way back in the day. We went to high school together. I am a researcher here in New York City, but I work across the country, and I teach at John Jay College of Criminal Justice. And my work focuses on ending mass incarceration, thinking about abolition, thinking about young people, trans people, and young adults in prison and jails, and how we can build a better world.
Love that. So good. Like I'm inspired just by your introduction. So
thanks. So I am the host today, and we want to get to know our beloved founder of BNB a bit more, and her experience from high school to college and then post-grad and thinking about life. I know there's a lot of wisdom you have, a lot of lessons learned, and it helped you create this foundation.
yes.
All right, so should we get started?
Let's do it.
Okay. First off, let's go way back in time to high school. And we're not going to spend too much time there, but I want to hear what's something from high school that you've kept through these years.
Okay. So high school for me, so I actually attended 2 different high schools before coming to Ramapo High School. But before I even go that, so born and raised New Yorker from what feels like all over the place, but spent a majority of my formative years in Rockland County. But only those last 3 years in a Rockland school. Matthew and I, my brother and I, went to school all over, from Mount Vernon to New Jersey. So being in Rockland and being in high school there was really cool because everybody went to the same places, after school. I remember the first time someone was like, oh yeah, we're gonna go to the Palisades Mall. And I was like, oh wow, yeah, because your mall is my mall. It's not the Paramus Mall, and I'm not gonna go down there. So, just that just kind of context. This is the first time I was around people who lived on my street, and we went to school together. So it's just a really cool experience that I wouldn't have traded for anything. And I'm so glad my parents decided to move us out of private school into Ramapo. We had a great experience. So something that I think that carried with me, or that stayed with me, my friends.
One of them is right here.
One of them is right here. Another of my friends who doesn't live here but is moving back. I think there was that was the first time outside of what I'll say my church and my family where I made friends that I knew were going to be lifelong friendships. Because all of the other schools I had gone to, we were moving schools every 3 years.
Yeah.
And none of those relationships really I didn't really connect or keep them post leaving those schools. This was the first time that I was like, oh yeah, I'm really connected to this school. I wouldn't be who I am today if it wasn't for this high school. I wouldn't have gotten to Stony Brook if it wasn't for the experiences and the friendships and the relationships I made at Ramapo.
Yeah. And we've almost known each other 20 years.
Oh my God.
I know. We're still young. We're still young and beautiful, but it's been a hot minute.
Yes.
Speaking of friends, and something I know I've kept from Ramapo is just how diverse it was.
Yes.
You're Jamaican. I am Salvadoran and Argentine. Our other best friend is Puerto Rican and Dominican. Other people we went to school with were from West Africa, India, Bangladesh, all across the Americas. Just, Haiti, just such a huge, diverse student body. And I think that helped me prepare for the real world, because the real world is actually diverse. And I don't know, I just appreciate
absolutely
that about our experience. It was really great.
The last 4 years before I got to Ramapo, I was in a predominantly white institution. And I remember walking into AP Bio, and my teacher was a Black Jamaican woman. And I was like, oh,
Yep.
Wow, okay, this is different. But the diversity, like you're saying, it was incredible. And I think it also helped prepare me for college.
Yeah.
To
Yeah,
experience
absolutely.
that. Yeah.
So tell me, so high school is a diverse place. You're really enjoying it. You make lifelong friends. What helped, you think about college and sort of career? Because I know when we're in high school, you have a lot of voices around you telling you this is what you should do. This is where you should go. This is what you should study. So it could be really overwhelming. What were the things that mattered to you that led you to where you went? And also share where you went to college.
Yes. Yeah. So the first thing that kind of comes to mind for that is, like you mentioned, that my family is Jamaican. And I think this is something that's shared with most immigrant families, where there's this understanding that we didn't move to this country for you to become an artist, right? Like, you're here to be a doctor, lawyer, or engineer. So, and even though I know like my parents would have supported me if I did something else, I just also realized that those fields do tend to provide economic stability. And because I just started kind of narrowing down what I liked and what I didn't like. So when I think about like maybe junior year in high school, my mom had gotten some information about this conference. It was like a women in engineering conference in Michigan, but like way up top Michigan. And it was like, I remember going on this really small plane. It was just like, this is the only airport they had. Like, it was strange, but it introduced me to all of these different types of engineering. And during that week or 2 weeks that I was up there, I realized that if I was gonna do engineering, I liked civil engineering, which is more like structural, bridges, or mechanical engineering. And I made up my mind that summer. I was like, okay, I think right after that trip, we went to Six Flags in Jersey. And I was like, okay, cool. I'm going to become a roller coaster engineer.
Let's go.
And I remember Googling it, and it was like, okay, mechanical engineers and civil engineers are who do this. So I was like, bet. That was already what I was kind of like leaning towards.
You're going to make 7 flags.
Yes, like, absolutely. I went on Bizarro and I was like, oh, there's heat and mist shooting at me right now on this ride. Like, there's got to be a way to figure that out and to do that. So I thought, I'm going to work for Six Flags, or I might work for Disney, like something like that. And that was what I wrote on all my college application essays. I was like,
Wait, you did?
Yes.
That you were going to
I was going to be a roller coaster engineer.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
That's really funny. Yeah. Okay.
So, and like and it kind of aligned with like I was doing physics classes. I was taking all of the AP calcs and blah 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 that like Ramapo offered at the time, which now I think a lot of them are not. Right? A lot of them are like combined with Valley, or Valley gets them sometimes for a couple years and then Ramapo gets them. So weird stuff. But that was kind of my initial thinking behind, okay, I'm gonna go do this. And when I was applying to schools, I applied to, whatever they say, like apply to some that are going to be harder for you to get in, the reach schools, and apply to ones you think you're going to get into, and then, the ones you know. So I had applied to, I think maybe Bing, Stony Brook, and Syracuse, maybe RIT, MIT. Definitely didn't get into MIT. I think I was playing myself. My grades were good, but anywho. Well,
they would have benefited from having you.
Yes, absolutely. So fine. MIT, if you're listening to this, it's your loss. So, but yeah, so I got into Stony Brook. I got waitlisted for Bing. I think I got into Syracuse, and I remember looking at price tags, and Syracuse was mad expensive.
Yeah.
Bing, I think at that time and still is really better for like maybe business or so, and Stony Brook is really great for STEM and health. So I was like, okay, I guess and I got into Boston University, and I actually really wanted to go to BU. I really liked Boston. I liked that it was like this historical little city, and minus all the other things that we know about Boston now.
Shout out to Boston.
Shout out to Boston.
Little historical city.
It just felt like, the Tea Party, and like, like there's so much stuff happening.
Well, listen, we paid attention in class. So. History happens in Boston.
Yeah, history. So I went to Boston, used like admitted student stay, loved it, and then I went to the financial aid office, and they were like, "Here's $10,000." Yeah. And in at that point in time, it was like $56,000 a year to go there, and now it's probably way more than that. It's probably double that. So Stony Brook, I didn't even know was in Long Island. I had no concept. I was just like, I gotta apply to some SUNY schools. So I didn't get into Bing. So okay, I guess I'm like going to Stony Brook. And I remember going to the campus and I was like, oh my God, this is gorgeous. Like, and especially around Admitted Students Day, all the flowers are blooming. Like, I know they buy these plants on purpose so that when you go there in like
It looks great.
April
It's
and May,
welcoming.
yeah,
It's really,
great.
yeah.
But
yeah.
don't go there in like December, January when there's like wind tunnels all over that campus. It's near the water. I'm not, Stony Brook is great. It's a lovely place to be. I had a great time my years there. But yeah, so that was kind of the reasoning behind Stony Brook, the price and that they were well known for what I wanted to study at the time.
So I have a question. What do you feel like really mattered in that moment to you? You know, because again, I think there's a lot of pressure. You know, you're probably feeling not great when you're not getting into your reach schools, when you're falling in love with a small historical city, and they're like, we're not going to give you that much money, right?
Yeah.
What's something that you feel like really mattered, grounded you when it came to making a decision to go to Stony Brook, or also just navigate that? Because I feel like it could be a lot, right? You know?
Yeah. So I really think about the money. Like I think Stony Brook at the time was
very smart.
It was $20,000 a year, and I was like, it's a good education for what I want to do. It's far enough away because I still wanted to be like away from my parents, and actually something else that happened like right after I decided I was gonna go. My mom and I went and talked to this organization that was tabling at like an Admitted Students Day called Women in Science and Engineering. And if you got into this program, they would give you a scholarship for all 4 years. Or maybe I'm wrong. I think it was for your first year, but 2 semesters. And my mom is the type of woman who there is no such thing as no, right? So she went up there, we went to this table and she was like, because I had applied and I didn't get in, but we went to the table and I remember talking to this lady, her name was like Carrie Ann. And she literally told us to like write a letter and submit it saying that, you know, you wanted to be in the program. And I got in and I got that scholarship. So I think there was something around like just their ability to support me as a student and support my needs. So on top of already like knowing it was going to be a good program, I got into this other thing, got in some additional scholarship money as well as like the local scholarships. So the price tag just started getting better and better.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
So money really matters, right?
Yeah.
As much as we might not want it to matter, it matters.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
I know it's true for me. So I went to CUNY, got probably the best education I could have wanted for my field. It's a school dedicated to criminal justice and the field. Right. And it was the best bang for my buck.
Yeah.
You know, had I gone to like NYU, I'd be in so much debt. Oh,
yep.
Not great.
Yeah.
You mentioned 2 programs. The one that's in Michigan, right? Women in Engineering.
Yeah.
Right? And then this program at Stony Brook that's Women in STEM, right? Why did it matter that there were these programs available to you that were for women in this field? Mainly because, not to, you know, spoiler alert here, like most industries, it's very male dominated,
yes.
right? A lot of men in this field.
Right.
Why? Yeah. How did that matter to you?
Yeah, I think at the time, I saw it as an opportunity for whatever they were offering students, not even so much that it was only women. I don't think at that time I realized, nor did I have any fear around being in spaces that didn't look like me. And I think this also came from like my upbringing. Like I have a younger brother, but I grew up with a lot of men that I would consider my brothers. And I was very competitive and still am. So it was very much like, I think there used to be this Michael Jordan commercial, like whatever you can do, I can do better. And I fully believe that, hands down. I was like, I'm going to sit here and I'm going to play football. I'm going to play video games. I just also enjoy doing these things. And I consistently just heard as a girl growing up that like, wow, you're good for a girl. So I think at that point I was like, okay, I'm joining this program, one, because it's going to give me money, or two, I'm going to learn something about what this is. And it wasn't until later on in my career that I realized, oh, wow, this was so important, because there is not this community in a lot of these science and tech fields. And yeah, it wasn't until like Alabama that I realized like, oh, this is important.
Yeah.
Like post engineering job, that I was like, oh yeah, community, representation, all this stuff really matters.
You've already brought up several things that came in handy in the long run, right? You just said like in grad school, when you're out in the field, when you were working. What would you tell like your younger self or other young people about how you have to keep that perspective, that doing something today might not pay out until much later?
Yeah, I think this was something that I learned really early on, and I'm really grateful to my parents for this. But discipline and consistency, to the point where I didn't even realize that that's what I was learning. Like both my brother and I were in karate, and we earned our black belts, and that takes years.
Yep.
Like talking about like at least 10 years.
Yeah, you can't speed run that.
Yeah, you cannot. You have to. You go through however many belts, then you need stripes on each belt. You have to memorize all these katas, all these forms. And so between that, and we also played piano for years, there's just a level of that 10,000 hours stuff. So I think I intrinsically like understood that hard work pays off over time. And it's something that I'm like trying to also like bring back to memory and to like today. So I think that discipline and consistency that we had from then helped me just to kind of like map out what needed to be done, and then be able to kind of like push it forward with high school and then college and then post college.
All right, college. Let's talk about college.
Okay.
What was the hardest part? Let's just get the hard stuff out there. What was the hardest part of college?
Oh my God. So I mentioned before that I went in like either civil or mechanical. So I decided to do mechanical engineering because at the time Stony Brook didn't have a civil program. They have a civil program now. Fun fact. So your first year they put you in, you kind of like everybody in an engineering class, no matter what your specialization in, kind of all takes the same classes those first 2 years.
Yeah.
But the only class that's different is what they call like an area of interest, blah, whatever one you're doing. So I took this like mechanical engineering 101 class, and it was cool. Like there wasn't anything that I think jumped out at me as to like say, yes, I definitely want to do this, or no, I don't. So the hardest part for me was probably sophomore into junior year. I was fortunate enough to get an internship my first year after school, which was great. And that did also help me kind of learn more just about engineering in general and whether it was something that I wanted to do. But the coursework, the second, third year, I was like, I don't really know if I want to keep doing this for the next 2 years. So that I was telling these guys earlier, like I felt like I was a professional extracurricular person. Everything academic just was kind of like, that's just the thing I do in between my extracurriculars and my job. So when that started to get hard, I was like, this is taking too much time away from all of the other things that I love to do, or that I'm learning, or the relationships I'm building. So, and then on top of, I had some experiences that put me in front of engineers and around the work that they were doing. And I was just like, yeah, I don't know if this is worth it. So,
okay.
Yeah.
So let's pause there, because that feels like a really big existential moment.
Yes.
And obviously, you're very successful. You're very into your career. How'd you get past that?
I remember sitting in the computer lab. I'm assuming these places still exist, like in colleges. But
they still got computer
labs.
Right?
Yeah, computer labs.
They haven't done away with the computer labs.
So I was in a computer lab, and I remember just Googling so much stuff. Like, what jobs do engineers have? How much money do they make? Like what other opportunities does an engineering or even STEM background offer? And I think that's what unlocked for me. It was like, I can do this material because at this point I'm like 2 years in. Like, I've already done a lot of the foundational courses. What opportunities or other career paths can I do with still having a STEM background and a STEM degree? So I started spending a lot of time on the Stony Brook, I guess whatever their engineering intranet page is, and just understanding what other majors that I could focus on that would match my credits that I had taken already.
And then you switched majors.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, I switched majors. So I went from one major with mechanical engineering to like 2.5. So I then switched to applied math and statistics and technological systems management with a specialization in mechanical engineering because I'd already taken so many mech classes. And it's funny because the technological systems management courses were essentially business for engineers. And those classes were so much fun. Like, it was just interesting to learn about all these business principles with a very technical background for it.
And this is 2 years in.
Yes.
Okay. All right.
Yep.
So another quick lesson there is that, you could have spiraled and been like, I wasted my time.
Right.
But you make sure you didn't. Before we go on to a bit more technical things of college, I know you just said like that was a bit self-motivated. What else around you helped you get to that decision? And maybe like thinking about who around you is helping make those decisions.
Yeah. So I went to the career center.
Okay.
And I feel like I was confused, right? Because at this point, I already had an internship, and my internship was based on being a mechanical engineering undergrad. So I took a lot of ownership in my internships following to make sure that wouldn't be a problem, or that that my internships didn't have to be engineering focused. And that's when I started learning about operations and supply chain, and that these degrees love someone who has a technical background, but you don't need an engineering degree to do that. And if I didn't have those conversations with mentors that I worked with, or even peers who were also interning in other places, I don't think, like, these were roles I didn't even know existed within technical companies. So guidance from the career center, just talking about some of my fears with some of my friends, and some of them, I mean, even like there's one electrical systems class that, and you'll hear from Shoshana later, but Shoshana, I would not have gotten through that course if it wasn't for her help. And as I was having this, like, hey, I think I'm going to switch out of mech, she didn't vilify me. She didn't make me feel bad. And she was like, yeah, girl, like, you've seemed to have it all planned out. And I think that for me was always really important. I needed to have a plan. I needed to know, okay, I'm going to switch, but I'm going to do this, 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 and this. And it's going to work out. And just kind of have this crazy faith and belief that, yep, this is going to work.
Yeah. But at this moment, it wasn't like a solitary, like you had the support you needed to like have that vision, have that plan.
Yeah.
Otherwise, because I think the mistake we sometimes make is saying, well, this is just my life, I have to make the decision by myself. And we don't feel comfortable, especially if we're scared of something, to like talk it out with other people.
I was really scared. I was crying. Like, I think in one of those computer labs, I definitely was like, oh my God, my parents are going to think that I'm a failure.
Yeah.
I'm not doing engineering anymore.
The spiral.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Which is going to happen, y'all. And it's okay. You're going to cry in a computer lab.
Yes.
Or somewhere else. But, like, it's going to be okay, evident in Briana.
Yes, you'll make it.
What's one of the tools or lessons that helped you in college that you still feel like you're constantly bringing back to help you now? Yeah.
So when I interviewed for Inroads, which was the placement program that I got my internship through, the representative for our district was one of the hardest to this day interviewer I have ever had. And I remember when I got the nod from her that I was able to like articulate my value.
Yeah, you home runned it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I was like, oh my God, I know what I'm doing. And I'm like getting good at this. And that turned into me interviewing just my friends who were also interviewing for like internships. I got really good at reviewing resumes because they critiqued the hell out of my resume. So just some things that this woman and that organization did as a whole just really helped me feel more confident when I stepped into these places.
Can you give us a quick tidbit about that interview? Like, what was so scary or intimidating or like?
I think some interviewers like to ask you like happy questions in the beginning to warm you up. She didn't do that. It was very much like, you know, just, I don't know, a lot of behavioral questions. So like, tell me about a time when you failed. And it's like, I'm 17 years old. Like, I got class in 2 hours. Like, and you're
whenever I
just
failed,
like, when have you failed? Like, and to be able to like answer that question in a way that's like, yeah, I messed up, I did this, but this is what I'm doing to work on it. And this is like, and that technique I learned into like freshman year of high school, of college. I learned that, oh wow, it's okay to fail, it's okay to have challenges, but it's like, what are you doing to overcome that? What are your plans? How are you seeking support to move forward?
Or just leaning into critique and feedback, right?
Yes.
And actually looking for the people who will be very honest with you.
Yes.
Because it's so hard. I remember one of my mentors fully made me cry my first presentation. Yeah. And I think it was a setup. Like, it was a setup where she's really excited. She made me present in front of the entire lab, and everyone ripped me into shreds. And I cried afterwards, I think in the bathroom or something.
Yeah.
But then everybody was like, yeah, this is how you get better.
Yeah.
Right? This is how you improve.
Absolutely.
This is how you become a badass.
Yeah.
So.
And that's very similar to what happened. Like, the first time I interviewed with her, I remember even prior to this, the first job I had on campus, I remember the lady asking me, like, tell me about yourself. And I was like, okay, my name's Briana. I'm 16. I'm Jamaican. Like, that's not what they want to know from you when they ask you that in a job interview. They want to know, okay, what does your experience you've had so far that matches the role? And I had the experience.
Yeah.
I had worked in an office for years, but it was like, just, I had never prepped that way. And to have somebody give me some real feedback, me like, actually, Brianna, that's not the answer to the question.
Yeah.
You know, but here's what you need to do to improve it.
So maybe a hard question now is, okay, what is the one thing that had not happened in college, you would not be where you are now? And you can't repeat yourself. So, what's the one thing that put you onto your trajectory now?
So I feel like this is a little, the word nebulous is coming to my mind. So like,
sure, let's see.
It's not like
I'll judge it. I'll judge you. Yeah. Let's see. I'll see.
So this like idea of doing things that are scary.
Okay. Yeah, that's a good one.
Right? Like, changing my major was scary. But by just doing the work and, researching, having conversations, we were like, I just felt more confident to go ahead and like do this thing, regardless of what like my parents would say, what any other elders are thinking about.
Listen up, y'all. That's probably the scary bit.
Yeah.
Okay.
It was really like, oh my gosh, I'm a failure. Like, I'm not doing this thing that I said I was going to do, but I just knew, I was like, okay, I'm just going to do this anyway because it feels right.
Follow up.
Yeah.
So the scary bit here isn't just only changing your major, but communicating that to the people who love you and support you.
Right.
I feel the same way, especially when it comes to my elders and my parents. Like telling them like, hey, I changed my mind. I'm going to do this. Terrifying. Kind of still terrifying. What would you tell like a kid or someone who's young, who's scared?
Yeah.
Like how do they get past that?
So I think there's a couple things. Like, you, right? And if you're the type of person who doesn't, make decisions lightly, like, your parent needs to understand that and trust that they raised an intelligent individual.
You raised me.
Right. So if I am saying like, hey, this is not it, but and for me, I like evidence, right? And I also was raised by a father who needs 5 bullet points before anything is discussed. So it was very much like, hey, I'm gonna change my major, but I'm still gonna be technical. I'm still keeping my internship. I am able to kind of like learn more about this side of like business, because I also realized I was gonna go get my MBA. So I'm like, and I got to use a lot of those business credits to transfer to grad school. So had I not actually taken those classes, that would have maybe set me back there. Yeah. And and this is me, right? Not everyone needs a 5-point plan, but I was like, X, Y, and Z is the reason why I'm doing this. Yeah. And also, this is my life, right? And you need to trust that you raised a capable person who's going to live with the outcomes of her decisions. Right?
Telling my mom, you raised me, so I don't know. Why are you confused? Yeah.
Right.
That's great.
Yeah.
All right. Now we're going to talk about career a bit, And again, I feel like there's a thread of doing things in the present so that it pays off in the future. Yeah. What do you feel like, or actually, once you were thinking about your career, maybe you're sort of like in it, you did a lot of internships, you're go off to grad school to do an MBA. Who is someone that you could look to, who you admired, who you were like, I need to lock in like this person did? Do you have someone?
I feel like I have some ones, and they're my friends. Some of them who we got a chance to interview like during this podcast series. But I think seeing my friends also fearlessly do the things or with fear, right? Do and accomplish the things that they wanted to, or pivot, just encouraged me to keep pursuing and to keep doing what I was doing, even in the midst of some opportunity, like some jobs that sucked. Like, I have worked some jobs that were really awful. And I remember being in the parking lot one night, and I called Wesley, like one of my best friends in Atlanta. And I was in tears, and I was like, dude, I can't do this. I don't know what I'm doing here. These people don't respect me. Like, I'm living in this place where my family is miles and miles away. And I just remember him reminding me of who I am, reminding me of where I come from, and reminding me that this too shall pass. So, and I think that's something too, is like when you're in the midst of whatever is happening, you can feel like it's gonna just go on forever, and it's not. So cry, right? Like,
cry in front of your friends.
Take that time.
Cry in front of your friends. Yeah.
Be vulnerable.
Be vulnerable.
It is okay. But if I hadn't stuck it through with that job, it opened every single door.
And this was when you were in Alabama.
Yes.
Yeah. I remember that. I remember those days.
Yep.
Rough times.
Yo. But so many great trips came out of that, because I was in proximity to Atlanta, so I could just hop and fly from wherever. But
I really love this answer, because even in my mind, I was thinking of like, who do I admire in my field? Yeah. Like someone maybe I haven't met or met a few times, where I'm like, oh, you're doing such great work. And I just love that you immediately went to your friends.
Yes.
And again, right, something that you have to build up your community, right? Community is not a given. It's not automatic. But you have cultivated a lot of deep and meaningful relationships who, in a moment of, when you were tired and over it and you're like, what am I doing? The people you admired were your friend. So I really love that answer, because usually, no shade to anyone who gives the answer who's like, this big name person who's like started 3 foundations and 3 businesses and discovered the cure for this. And it's like,
those people are
we
great.
Can't call them, right? Like, we can't be like, I need motivation to be like you. You call your friends. You call the people who love you and support you and understand your ability.
Yes. Also, shout out to one of my friends who was like, yeah, maybe it's this for you. And I was like,
go for it.
Shout out to Tiffany.
What is something that, the community has to do, right, to support our young people and students, and like, or how can they recognize the support that you had?
That's a good question. So I'm gonna, obviously pull on our community as a frame of reference, and I think, as I think about like the foundation, which is gonna be 12 years old this year, honestly, I think almost every person I've ever reached out to and I said, hey, there's a student who's studying what you're studying, or hey, we're hosting this panel event, or hey, would you mind coming on this podcast, right? Like, have jumped at the opportunity to share something that affected them or that worked for them. And I think that continuous just sharing of information and sharing of challenges and being vulnerable is something that our community does really well, and I think we need to keep doing.
Yeah, we need to keep that up.
Yeah, because there's just so much that's unspoken too, and especially when you think about like social media and the way some things are just glamorized. Like, it's hard, and I don't know if I'm gonna date myself. This generation really sees that a lot. Like, I don't know if they see that it's going to take years in some cases to really feel comfortable doing something. I think there's a lot of instant gratification. So, and I think when you talk to people about their experiences, you understand that and you get to see it. Like, oh, wow, you really, like, I think about Nana, like, submitting however many manuscripts he had to submit before that hustle. One hit, right? Or taking feedback. Sometimes that will prick you, and it might not come from a mentor. I had someone who, when I was in college, I had set up time with her and I didn't show up, and I forgot like twice. That woman did not respond at all, and that was one of the biggest lessons. Just by and she didn't even have to say nothing,
listen.
So
I mean, now that I'm sort of in the, like, I teach, right? I have a lot of students who want advice and stuff, and sometimes when they don't show up, I'm like, oh man, like, come on, like,
right,
because time, right?
Yes.
Like,
you have to respect people's time, because why would they respect your time if you don't respect theirs?
Something you made me think about was, like, we actually have such a huge, loving, supportive community, and I think we often think of the people who say yes to us. That also means that we have to not let the people that say no to us, like, demolish our dreams. Because I feel like I've also been told no and rejected a lot, right? But I didn't get stuck there. And I really invested my time and energy into the mentors and people who listened to me, who were honest, and who ultimately say yes, right? And when we were younger, us respecting that yes, right? Be like, okay, thank you for your time, and I'm going to make the best out of it, and also follow up and catch up and, maintain those lines of communication. But, I feel like also the no's can get you. But I think we've just realized that, the no's suck. It's going to hurt. But what really matters is the community that shows up and says yes to you.
Right.
And is going to support you.
Yeah. And those no's just mean that that's not your path.
Right.
Like, the doors that open are the doors that are meant for you. That's where your support system is, or you are prepared for that opportunity. And
sometimes a no is like, this really isn't for you. Like,
this
is like the 5th no. Like, maybe we got to pack it up and, like, go try something else.
For real.
Okay. We're coming to the end. of like getting to know you a little bit, a little insight into Bree. What's I have a good question. What is something you want to tell to your future self from right now?
Something that I would tell my future self?
Yeah. With all the wisdom and lessons that you've learned.
Yeah.
Or like, don't forget.
Oh. So the first thing I feel like I would tell myself is we made it. We made it because we're going to be consistent this year and every year forward. Yeah. So I hope you're great. I hope you're 10 times better than I am today. But yeah, I guess, I don't know. It's funny because I kind of felt this way about like college. Like we were chatting about this before, and I was like, man, yeah, I feel like I really maximized my opportunities.
You did. You really did.
And that drive, and I'm like, do I have that now? And I think I beat myself up a lot because it is there. I do still feel like I am maximizing opportunities. So I guess my future self, I just want to make sure that like whatever it is that you're doing, that it brings you joy, because everything that I'm doing, minus like a couple of things, really bring you joy. And I guess I would just hope that future me, 100% of what I'm doing is bringing me joy. Yeah. And I think we're here because we did a lot of work that was kind of boring. And yes, mundane.
You just have mundane,
yeah.
Right? But you kind of have to, that's part of the hustle, right? It's part of the curve. Like, yeah, you got to plug data into an Excel sheet for 10 hours and for some analysis that you're never going to look at again or something.
Right. Exactly. And never going to use again. I have not used calculus. That was...
And don't get me started on math.
Yes.
Don't get me started on statistics where I learned all these formulas and now I just have a program.
Right.
Run it.
Exactly.
Yeah. Before we wrap up, like you run a foundation, you have a team, you're constantly saying yes to things. I know you're constantly saying yes to me. Why do you do it? Like why pour so much energy and love and support into our high schools that matter to us, and your friendships? Like what's the motivation?
Yeah. So I think first off, these communities have given so much to me, and to, like my friends and my family, that it feels not only natural, but like almost like an obligation to pay it forward in some way. And I think this is also something that my parents instilled in me. Like we were members of a church in the Bronx, and I remember like just at some point in time, it was like, okay, you are now going to serve the church. Choose a thing. Usher, working in the nursery, or, there was something. It was kind of like as a recipient of this community, you now must serve. So I think that's something that was expected, but I also see the ways that folks invested in me, and throughout programs like Inroads, programs like WISE. Yeah. Programs that I've worked within like the corporate sphere that still exists to support women and other underrepresented folks. So it just kind of feels natural that like, okay, these folks took time to educate me, to give me feedback, to take time out of their day. Let's do the same. And let's start with our communities where there are certain landmarks that we know, like, and we're able to connect on a different level, and they look like us. And they're going to have similar experiences to us, even with slight differences. So I think the why is that it's if we don't do this, who's going to do it?
Right. We can't be waiting.
Right.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. Well, thank you so much. It's been really fun chit-chatting.
Yes.
And again, just the long-term trajectory of us, this might be a little grandstanding, but reading applications at a
that bar
at a bar in Cape Town in South Africa, because you're like, I want to give money to some students who need money, and I was like, hell yeah, let's do it.
That was when we
and now it's grown into so much more, And again, I don't think that younger version of us would have necessarily believed that we'd be here. But I think us saying yes to that and just diving in and saying, we'll figure it out.
Right.
Is the reason we're here. So anyway, thanks for listening to anyone who tuned in. Thanks, Bree. And yeah, I hope you enjoyed it and learned something from our founder, Briana.
Awesome. Welcome to The Scholar's Guide, a podcast where we explore powerful stories of how access to opportunity and strong community transforms lives. I'm your host, Briana Brown, and founder of the BNB Foundation, a nonprofit organization focused on empowering tomorrow's leaders to meet their full potential in college and beyond.